Aloha guys, welcome to another edition of Atort Tutorials. Today I am going to work and show you how to clone and use your spot healing brush to get some stuff. I'm going to actually I took a picture of this clock in my little town and there's some glue or something on it, and I know I can turn it into a kind of nice image. So as I said, I'm going to show you how to do this in Photoshop. So I'm in Capture One Pro right now, as you see. Capture One Pro 11. I'm going to take my raw file for my D850. I'm going to drag it to the dock onto my Photoshop icon. So I'm using CC 2019. It's going to populate. Oop, didn't do it. Try one more time. Drag it into Photoshop. It's going to populate into Camera Raw. And I'm not going to get into a Camera Raw tutorial, but I'm going to go through a couple of the sliders. I'm going to add a little saturation. I am going to, what would I want to do? Probably bring down the highlights a teeny bit. Take the dehaze filter, or dehaze adjustment I should say, slider, and bring that up a little bit, kind of tighten up everything. I am going to check how the colors look, add a little warmth to it, a little yellow. What else? I'm not going to get too into it. And again, maybe tighten up the blacks a little bit. Like that. And every time you make a move, usually you kind of balance it out with another move. So by tightening up the blacks, I'm going to go and bring up the exposure a little bit. And for the sake of the tutorial, I'm just going to go ahead and open the image. Pardon me. I'm going to hit Command J to duplicate my layer and to put it on a new layer. And a few things, you know, I know when I'm shooting that it's not that big of a deal. This isn't a crucial shot, but I see the sign up in the upper right hand corner, which is simple, little easy removal, this little branch. And there's more, you know, there's more than one ways to skin a cat kind of deal, but the quickest way is to take your L keyboard shortcut for the lasso tool. If you go on the left-hand side, you can see lasso tool selected, and I can just draw a loose selection around this, like that. Kind of a phallic shape, huh? And I can hit Shift F5, and I'm going to hide the marching ants. So I'm going to hit Command H on a Mac, hide the marching ants. The selection is still there, it's just not showing the ants. And I am going to go and hit Shift F5, and it's going to bring up the fill dialog box, and we're going to want to make sure that this content is set to content aware. Now if we hit OK, what it's going to do is magically go away, and that's how quick that happens. Now I'm going to hit Command D to deselect, and I'm going to go up to here, do another loose selection, and again, nothing major, super easy. It's going to clone the surrounding pixels and kind of work the content aware magic. I'm going to hit Command H again to hide the pixels, to hide the marching ants so you can see. And I'm going to go and hit Shift F5, which is the keyboard shortcut, or you can go, where is it? Where is it in here? It is new fill layer. Wait, I'm trying to find out where it is here. Here it is. So fill is Shift, the little up F5. So I'm just going and doing the keyboard shortcut. Super efficient when you start really hammering away in Photoshop or any kind of editing application. It's really good to know the keyboard shortcuts and familiarize yourself with them. So I'm going to have the fill content aware dialog box pop up again. Now mind you, again, I have the selection. As you see, I'm hitting Command H to hide and expose the marching ants, show where my selection is made, and I'm going to hit OK. And voila. Now I'm going to hit Command D to deselect, and that's that part of the image. So within 2 seconds, you have, you know, those two things out of the way. Now, if you see here, I'm going to hit my Z key, which is going to bring up my zoom tool, and I'm going to click on my Wacom tablet actually, or use your mouse. You could also use the command plus or minus to go in and out. So I can command plus, command minus, and that will zoom in and out. And as you see, I got some debris. I don't know what they did, but regardless, there's some crap on the little clock that's kind of cool. Too bad they don't do anything to restore this, but regardless of that, I'm going to go to my tool panel over here, and if I hit J, it's going to be selecting my spot healing brush tool. Now for certain things, this is really great. For something like this little mark, it could possibly work well, and what you want to do, in theory, is make it a little bit larger than what you're trying to get rid of. And again, I'm using a Wacom tablet, an Intuos Pro tablet with the stylus, so I have pressure sensitivity. So if I go and just brush like that, you can try either way. You can get a pretty good result. And right now I have a pretty hard brush, as you can see. I'm going to go a little softer. And I'm just going to swoop. Nope, that didn't work really well either. So not bad, as you see. I mean, it kind of does the job. I can use my S clone tool. I'm not going to walk through everything right now, but as you see, I could kind of refine that. And right now I'm using the clone stamp tool. I'm not going to go here and do that, but that gets rid of that little part. And again, I'm not trying to make this perfect, but I want to show you how quickly we can do this using our clone stamp tool. And what your clone stamp tool, that's the keyboard shortcut S. If I hit S, it's going to show you your brush size. If I hold on the Option key, it's going to give you where you source where you want to clone from. Now on my stylus, on my Wacom stylus, I make a modifier key for my stylus, and the bottom, if I hold the bottom button on my stylus, on my pen, it's going to give me the Option key. So this is what I use a lot of times to be really efficient when I'm cleaning up an image. So say I go and hit this little area, that's where it's going to clone from. And I'm going to go and just kind of brush over this area, and I'm at 100% opacity with a pretty soft brush. And as you see, it's sometimes not that easy to do, to make it look really, because I don't know if you can see, but maybe I need to take the opacity a little bit lower than 100 so it kind of fades in and not so white. It's really hard to, you kind of have to just see what it's doing and zoom in and out. Sometimes zooming in is not always the best because you can see every little imperfection. Like this, for example, I can try to hit my L key and get the lasso tool and do the content aware thing and see what happens. And let's see. I'm going to do the same thing. I hit my L key, made a loose selection around this little yellow sticky part, this little yellow where tape apparently was. And then I hit it by hitting Command H, and now I'm going to make sure content aware is in my Shift F5 dialog box. That's what brings this box up, and hit OK. And wow, okay, so that worked really freaking well. So pretty much magic, honestly. I mean, it's as close to magic you're going to get in Photoshop nowadays. And I mean, this has been around for a little bit. And usually what it has a hard time with is maybe right around here, like right around where the black area is, because it may want to try to source some of this and kind of start getting weird. So I'm going to hit Command H to hide this, and I'm going to hit Shift F5. And pretty darn acceptable, wouldn't you say? So within how many seconds? I mean, that takes freaking no time at all. I'm going to hit D, Command D to deselect, and I'm going to zoom in. Whoop, what did I do? Hold on a second. I'm going to zoom in and now refine this little area. So now I got this little kind of more delicate area because I got the watch hand. So now I can hit S, and I'm going to get my clone stamp tool. Now again, I'm using my modifier key on the bottom of my stylus that I made into the Option key. I'm going to source right over here, and I'm going to, see how I'm hitting like a whiter area? So I'm going to hit Command Z. I always have my left hand on the keyboard on basically the Command Z area to undo and toggle and see if it's better or worse. So that looks worse to me. So I'm going to go and try again. Not bad. I'm going to go and do it again. Kind of refine the little edge. And I may want to zoom in even more by hitting, pardon me, Command plus. No, so I'm hitting again using the clone tool right now. And I'm going to make a little smaller brush, and I'm going to go right over this little edge. Oh, that's not good. I'm going to see how that looks really quick. And this is kind of, you know, pixel pushing, essentially. But for right now, that's good enough. This little part bothers me, if you can see. This little black area. And again, we're getting nitpicky a little bit. If you're retouching and really doing this for a job or for your own imagery, you want to get this way. So I'm going to zoom back out, take a look at it. And again, you know, you're going to see before, after. I mean, that's a lot better. So I'm going to try this section. I'm going to hit the L key again for the lasso tool. I'm going to make a loose selection around this. Hit Command H, Shift F5, Content Aware Fill, and I don't know, I'm going to try one more time. Every time you hit Shift F5 too, if you undo what you just did, it's going to give you a different result. So know that. You can try a few different times and it may give you a better or worse result each time. It's not the exact same thing. So I'm going to try a different little selection. I'm going to make a little looser selection, not so close to the watch hand, and try Shift F5 one more time. And then from here, I'm going to go and fine tune, I think, with, again, if I use J, the spot healing brush tool, what it's doing essentially, if I go and brush over this, it's going to try to match the surrounding pixels, or it's going to basically take information from the surrounding pixels and try to do its best to make it look good. Now that I can actually live with if I wanted to, but I don't think I would try to do this little retouch cleanup with this tool. So I'm going to go to my clone tool by hitting S again, and I am going to first try to get this black area a little bit more defined. So this is the clock hand. Do this. Try to get a little bit of the edge. Now even over here, as you see, no, it's a little tricky, but it's pretty doable. Now right here, I'm gonna, you know, again, I'm trying to walk through this and do it delicately. A lot of this stuff kind of is a little art in itself. You just got to get in the little mode and flow like anything if you're writing music or doing something creative. There's my cat meowing, saying, "Why aren't you paying attention to me?" and talking into a computer. But as I said, I'm using my clone stamp tool right now, and I just want to show you how effective it can be. So, nope, that's not going to work. Now again, I'm sourcing this information right back there, and I can see it's a little too much, so I'm going to lower the opacity from 90%. I'm going to hit the 8 key on the keyboard, and that will take it to 80%. And as you see, kind of getting there. No, that's not good. Let me see. But a lot better than it was. And I'm going to try one more time to take maybe a little bit of this information, because again, you don't want it to look smooth. You want it to look the same kind of texture and noise and color, like the little different, like it may be a little bit more white or a little dirtier looking, so you want to make sure it kind of stays the same. Now what I'm going to do is just kind of skip over that for now and not even look at it, and I'm going to address this area up here. So I'm going to hit my S key again. I'm going to kind of just use my brush tool. I'm going to go back to 100%. I'm going to clone this right here. Use a little bigger brush. Sometimes will help too. And again, a lot of times you got to experiment. You got to try different opacities. You got to try different brush hardnesses. Sometimes a softer brush will do better than a hard. A softer brush will do better than a hard brush, and vice versa. But as you see, if I hit Command Z, it kind of just toggles back and forth. And you basically just say, hey, is that a better or worse result by doing what you just did? So I'm going to go and hit here. Now I'm just kind of rushing through it. I'm not going to be too perfect about this. Now even here, if I wanted to, I can use the little lasso tool, content aware fill thing, and it will work, as you see. So Shift F5, and I could just kind of fly through that. And again, after you get done doing the little Shift F5, make sure you hit the Command D or hit deselect to get rid of that selection you just made. And then from there, I can zoom out and see what it looks like. So again, from that, which is pretty dirty, I couldn't sell that image, for example. People would be like, what is all that shit on top of that clock? How are you going to say that's a good image? But now it's looking kind of, you know, presentable. Like it actually looks like an antique clock. And I could fine tune. And now I'm going to use J, the spot healing brush tool. And this is where you can kind of go over and fine tune and really just zap through your image. You know, I can go here if I want and just really, now all I'm doing again is taking a brush a little bit larger than what I'm trying to get rid of. And I'm just basically swiping down on my tablet and you can see what it's doing. So right here, little zap, a little brush. Here, I can take that away. If I want, I could even do this. Watch. See what happens. I'm just brushing right now and holding down on the stylus. I don't know if that's the best result for that one. This would probably be a content aware fill by the lasso tool again. So I'm going to try that. Make a loose selection around this area. Hit Command H. Shift F5. Oop, no. Shift F5, not 5. Make sure content aware is over there. Hit OK. And I don't like what that did. So I'm going to just leave that for now. And kind of look over some of the other things. And I think it looks pretty good. I don't know what this little spot is right here. I'm going to get rid of that. It doesn't look like it's adding to the image. Anything that kind of gets your eye distracted, especially when you're retouching, you know, I mean, people can say that it's not how it was, but you know what, if it's something that's distracting you in a way that's not adding to the image and it's not like you're changing it or I'm putting some different face on the clock, I mean, it's the same clock, it just looks better. So to me, that's part of the deal with photography. You got to use your creative eye and, you know, how you saw the clock and what it meant to you. I mean, to me, it's your interpretation of, you know, the scene. To me, I didn't see this clock with stupid tape on it. I saw it as a cool little antique clock with the town that I'm staying in right now. And I'm going to try to, let me see, zoom over this a little bit. And hit command, if I hit Command 02 on a Mac, it will bring me to fill the screen. So now again, this is before we have this crap on the left, which was an easy fix with a content aware method. Up here was simple. And over here, as you see again, we went from that to that. Before, after. Not bad, right? So I'm going to hit Command 0 again. I'm going to hit Command J to duplicate the layer one more time. And I'm going to take it into, say, I don't know, I got On1 software filters. I got some Topaz filters. I'm going to go into Topaz Studio and see what I can make this little simple image into. And again, this is when I kind of have fun with some filters because it's not necessarily anything special. It's just a clock against the sky. But say you can go and get kind of, you know, make it a little bit more, make it pop a little bit. I mean, I'm looking at just one part of it too. I could always mask this out. So I'm going to, let's see, scroll down a little bit. Maybe even black and white. Nah, no black and white. You know, say something like that, possibly. And I could lessen the effect. So I can take that, either lessen the effect right here in the software. And I'm going to just OK out of that for the moment. So I'm going to make a little more pop to this file. Now, as you see, before that effect, after. It's hardly a big deal, but it does add a little bit something to it. Now maybe I want to take my dodge tool. If I hit the O key, that's going to bring up this little area on the left-hand side where I got my dodge tool, my burn tool, and my sponge tool. Sponge tool is going to remove color. Burn tool is going to be, again, like the traditional darkroom. It's going to darken an area. Dodge tool is going to lighten an area. Now, people who think Photoshop is not part of the deal with photography, this is your digital darkroom. Anyone who thinks Photoshop is cheating, they're fucking crazy in my opinion. You know, people think you're shooting a raw file. I'm not going to go on to a rant right now, but if you shoot a raw file, it's meant to be taken and processed out. It's not meant to just sit there as a raw file without doing anything. That's not a purist photographer by any means, so get that out of your noggin. But anyway, I'm going to take my dodge tool, and maybe I want to just make this clock face a little brighter. And maybe I want to take this and make this a little brighter. Your eye's always going to get drawn to the brightest spot of the image. That's just kind of how the human eye works. And anything that's a little bit brighter is going to be, you know, again, where the focus point is. So for now, you know, I can, whoop, shoot, sorry about that. You know, I can go and make this a little detail shot for something. You know, it's a cool little image. I mean, it's nothing, as I said, crazy, but from, again, that looks like garbage, essentially, and a useless picture, to that, you know, it's a relatively clean-looking shot. I can sharpen it a little bit. Go to Filter, go to Sharpen, Unsharp Mask. Let me see. I mean, this is a full big D850 file, so I'm going to probably take the amount up a little bit for this example. And when you have a metal, you can get away with more sharpening. But, you know, again, something like that looks pretty good, you know, compared to that. So I hope this helps. This is going to be before, after, before, after. To me, it looks as if not only are you cleaning up the image, but you're also turning on the lights of the image. Even if this was properly exposed, which it was, you know, there was nothing blown out. I was shooting in RAW. Histogram looked good, but again, completely different to a processed out file that's properly done by doing that. Clean face, nice area in the clock face, and again, a lot of the stuff is gone. I mean, you can go and get crazy and clean this up, but I don't think, you know, it adds some character to leave some of it, and that I think is what looks, you know, more natural. You start getting too crazy and it looks too perfect. But again, before, after, utilizing content-aware fill, which again is Shift F5. It's also right up here in, where was it again? Not type. It is edit. So if you go down to edit, fill, that's the keyboard shortcut I was using, Shift F5. So again, that's going to bring up this dialog box, and we want to make sure it says content aware. I don't know what it's not showing. Let me see. Oh, probably because I don't have anything selected. And again, the other tool we were using was the clone stamp. That's the S key. So right here, clone stamp, not pattern, clone stamp. We're going to source with the option key. So again, S, you're going to hit the option key. And we're going to control the brush size and the brush hardness, and we're going to try to go a little bit bigger than whatever we're sourcing. But again, this is something you got to play with. Each tool is going to behave differently, and it's going to take time to get to learn and know how each tool works the best. And it's kind of a fun little game. I mean, it's kind of like just, you know, you figure it out and you know what to do, and it's just instinctively part of the process of editing correctly. So again, play with that. And the other tool we used was J, which is the spot healing brush tool. And again, that is super simple. You just hit the J key, go a little bit larger than whatever you're trying to clone out, do a little gentle brush, and voila, it's gone. So again, I hope that helps you guys. This is a good way to learn how to clean up your images, get rid of some stuff, whether it's the clock face or a person in your shot or a person in your wave or something on a turtle or something on a person's face, pimples, acne, anything. So get going, use the software, and have fun. And aloha. Thank you, and please hit the subscribe button. I am going to really get proactive on this channel and start to hammer out some tutorials, at least 1 or 2 a week. And I would appreciate you hitting the subscribe button. And that's about it for now. Aloha. Peace.